Well, I was told that we were going to be getting our hands dirty on a Monday morning here at the Creative Workshop in Waterdown, but luckily the computer's doing all the work for us. Happy to be here because we got a very interesting morning. John's just going to turn that off so we don't have to be yelling all morning. Hey, John, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Tim?
Nice to meet you, man. This is a good-looking shop, too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Take us through what's the Creative Workshop all about?
Well, 5 years ago, it started basically making custom woodworking. River tables, charcuterie boards, so on. With COVID hitting and people not wanting you in their home and everything else, it started to migrate, and a couple months ago, I joined with Love Your Wood, and we started to do wholesaling of live edge, epoxy.
You have a nice collection of wood over there. Luke, you want to sneak around there and check out some of that wood? Because what's all this? Where's all this live edge wood from?
It's out of Erin, so it's all reclaimed Ontario wood.
Really? Okay.
There's probably 400 or 500 board feet of wood. We have all the epoxies with Chemtech. We have all the glues and sealants from Aftech, and the molds from Exotherm.
So it's kind of a DIY.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to, like, how difficult, so you're saying a river table, and for anybody at home, what is a river table?
It's kind of a generic term. It's really a table that has wood and epoxy in it.
Like the one behind you?
Like the one behind me. Now, this is a smaller version, and normally the river goes all the way through. So you put 2 pieces of wood in the mold, and you pour epoxy in between the wood. So it looks like a river.
Is it difficult?
It's difficult to get it right.
It takes a few times?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's a simple process,
okay.
But it does take a knack.
Yeah. What were you cutting in there?
That's a CNC machine, and that's these boards that you'll be using later on.
So that's what it was going to cut. It's going to cut a board just exactly like that.
Exactly like that. So basically, all the boards, once I've designed it in the computer, the CNC will cut as many as I want over and over again.
So we have Alex here, who's going to be my teacher in a little bit. And we're going to be creating what?
You're going to be creating an Ocean Charcuterie board.
An Ocean Charcuterie board. And this is the finished kind of product.
That's where you're going to end up.
Because the worlds of, charcuterie boards have been around for a little bit, but like the creativity within the charcuterie board has really taken off with the epoxy.
Yes, 100%. Because it allows you to add colors, and based on where it's going, what that company is.
Right.
You know, we do a lot of blues, very popular.
Okay.
Some green, purples become very popular again.
Right. Nice.
Black is also goes well with most woods.
All right, so we're going to you kind of set it up here in the shop to kind of step us through the whole process. So let's take a break. Anybody wants more info, the website's the best place to go, John?
Yeah, or the Instagram.
Or the Instagram. So what's the Instagram?
It's the Creative Workshop.
Creative Workshop, and thecreativeworkshop.ca.
CA.
Okay,
this is the
we'll
webpage.
Come back and we'll introduce you to Alex and show off what we're doing on Morning Live. Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Creative Workshop, where we're doing something I've never done before. I've never even heard of this. This is something called the Ocean Boards. We're here with Alex. Good morning, Alex. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great.
What concoction, what potion are you making for us here this morning?
All right, so I've just mixed some 2 to 1 part epoxy, some top coat epoxy. We let the temperature rise up to 104 degrees Fahrenheit, because that's kind of the sweet spot for what we want to do for ocean pours. And then I've added some Chemtech mica pigment right here into the epoxy to get this nice blue color. So this is going to be the darkest blue in our ocean pour today.
Okay, so let me sneak in here, because you got it all set up for me. You actually did all the work for me, which is fabulous off
You
camera.
might want to stir those a bit more, though.
So give these a little bit of a stir.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't want any lumps in it.
So you said you want it warm too, huh?
Yes.
Because what happens if you do it cold, if you pour it cold?
You're not going to get the cells that you're trying to get. So we're trying to get some white lacing. We want it to look like the ocean, and you're not going to get...
Like that?
Like that, exactly. And if you do it too early, where the epoxy is too cold, the lacing, you'll see it when you create it, and then it will slowly fade away as it cures.
Okay, so
we want to get really close to the final cure point, and then the lacing will kind of stick.
You put some paint on here.
I did put some paint on here because we're using a pine board. The paint just helps with the bubbles later on. It's a little bit more porous of a wood.
Right.
So I just kind of sealed it off.
Is pine the best to work with for something like this?
It's an easy practice material.
Oh, okay.
It's great for practice.
Good. Okay.
Professionals will often move towards the black walnuts and the walnuts and the nicer, more exotic woods.
Can we start pouring?
Absolutely.
Okay, so how do we do it?
All right.
First one.
So we're going to start with our darker colors.
Okay.
And then we're going to come forward. So what we're going to do, let me move some stuff out of the way. We're going to follow the heart shape in the charcuterie board.
Oh, so we're pouring right on there.
Right on it. And we're going to try to get as much in the center so that it stays off the board, because runoff is okay.
It is okay.
And you're going to want that.
Are we pouring it all on there?
So keep a little bit left in your cup, because we're going to go back after on kind of a second quick pass.
Okay. Next blue.
Next blue.
So give that another stir.
A little stir. I like to start in the middle, and then I
middle.
like to go out towards my edges. And I've painted the board for you, so it can kind of serve as a guide for where you want to where you want to keep your color.
So again, maybe not all of it.
Yeah, you can keep a little bit, because what I like to do now is get my hands sticky.
Oh, it's like finger painting.
I like finger painting. So I actually go in and touch it, and I make sure that I get all over the edges. So this is where I keep a little bit in my cup so that I can just dip some more. You can take it off the bottom that's dripped already.
Amazing.
You just want to coat everything all nice.
Okay, so let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll kind of go into the next step of making these ocean boards. And this is something that this whole kit is something that you can be getting from the Creative Workshop. We're actually going to be doing a giveaway in a little bit later. So stay tuned to Morning Live this morning, and you can give them a follow. The Creative Workshop on Instagram, or follow them on the website, thecreativeworkshop.ca. How am I doing?
Great.
Well, good Monday morning and welcome back to the Creative Workshop. We're doing something very unique this morning here with Alex and the whole gang. John and Ryan are here with us too. So we got our
heat guns.
Heat guns. Could you do this with a hairdryer too?
It blows a little bit too much air.
Too much, okay.
Yeah. So we have low-powered heat guns. So we're gonna go over it a little bit first. I like to get all of my little bubbles from the air out of my top epoxy. So what I've done now is I've added one row of kind of clear right at the base of my color, and I'll be adding a white right below that. So I like to pinch my cup a little bit and get a really thin white line.
Now I jumped the gun on Alex and I already poured my white line. I went a little rogue.
That's okay. And then I'll even take a little stir stick
and just kind of mix that in there.
Bring it in so everything's kind of touching.
Right, so if somebody missed the first segment, so this is epoxy.
Yes.
And what exactly is epoxy?
So epoxy is a two-part mixture made out of a resin and a hardener. So they come in different mixing ratios that are available. You can get some 1-to-1, some directly same volume or same weight depending on the brand. You can get some 2-to-1, some 3-to-1. Some even go as high as 5-to-1.
But it's really taken off in recent years, using it on boards, using it on tables, and being creative with it.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So with our heat guns, what are we doing?
So I'm going to take the heat gun. I'm going to keep it low to the board.
Okay.
I'm going to gently push it out. That's very important not to overheat the section that you're on. So I'm actually going to keep moving. So if ever you start seeing smoke, you're overheating that section of the board. So you want to.
So you want that epoxy moving though, do you? Like
you
that,
do
like
want it moving.
Like your white moving there?
So see, my epoxy is kind of, I call it riding the wave. So
oh, cool.
It's kind of floating over the clear. So I'm just going to keep blowing it out, and then eventually my cells are going to appear.
Because that's what you want. Like
that's what we're going for.
Like the boards that you have beside you, like those cells are appearing. That's what you're going for.
You want it to look like the ocean.
You're doing better than me. But I guess it takes a little bit of practice too,
It
right?
does. Yeah, that's why we start with the pine boards, because it's not a big dollar expense to practice.
Once you get it, then you can step up to that black walnut.
Exactly.
Ah, okay. Okay, so let's take a break. We'll keep doing this, and then we'll go to the next step of making our ocean boards. And this is something that you can do through the Creative Workshop. can go to their website, creativeworkshop.ca, or follow them on Instagram. We're actually going to be doing a giveaway when we come back for our last segment. We're putting the final step onto our ocean boards back here with Alex at the Creative Workshop. So this is, I guess you could probably guess who did which one. So this was the first step, right, Alex?
Yes.
That's Alex's, that's mine. We put the epoxy on there. 4 different color epoxies, right? And then we got our heat guns.
Yes.
And moved it all around. Now we put a second coat on here.
Yep.
So we got our heat guns again.
Again.
Okay, and we're doing...
Same kind of step. We're gonna go swipe back and forth. Get the white flowing over that clear layer that we put on.
Because again, what are we looking for?
We're looking for the cells to appear. So we want the white to thin out, and then you're gonna see it's gonna start separating and creating these cells that we're looking for.
Perfect. Now what do you do underneath? Can you, what's the other side look like, Alex? Because it's kind of dripping on the other side.
It's gonna drip on the other side. So there's 2 ways to kind of finish off those drips. You can put some painter's tape around the bottom of your piece, and then when the epoxy is kind of tacky to the touch but stops dripping, you can peel that tape off, and it'll leave a nice clean line. Or if you wait for it to fully cure, you could just easily flip the board over later and just sand everything off.
Okay, magic of television. Come on over here. Because then we let that dry. And when you let it dry,
Yes.
it comes out looking like that.
Something like this.
So that is the finished board, but there's one more step that we want to do.
Yes.
And what are we adding?
So we're gonna wanna finish these boards. If we're gonna use these for charcuterie, where there'll be food on it, we're gonna wanna use a food-safe finish for our wood to preserve it longer. So,
Is it just a simple wax?
so this is a wax that we make here in shop. And we kind of just,
it's wood butter, is that what it's called?
yeah, wood butter. So we just mix it around until it gets kind of soft. And then we're gonna just rub it in circular motions onto our board.
And then you're starting to see some of that grain from the pine too.
Exactly, and you get the nice colors of the natural woods coming out.
Do you need to put it over the epoxy or no?
You don't.
Okay.
You don't need to put it over the epoxy. The epoxy itself is food safe as well.
Awesome.
It's just not recommended to ever cut on epoxy because it will crack or chip.
Right, do all your cutting down here.
Yes.
Well, the charcuterie board's more for presentation anyways. You shouldn't really be cutting
Exactly.
on.
Some people like to use them for cheese boards. We always
Yeah.
say, cut the cheese on the wood.
There you go. Okay, cool. Well, I think we got it done. Here's the thing. If you kind of interested in all of this world and want some practice on it, there is a kit that's available right here. You get everything that Alex and I did. All you have to do is give them a follow, the Creative Workshop on Instagram, or if you already follow them, just give them a like on the story that they're going to be posting, and you can be doing this at home. And then we're going to be posting this video that you can kind of step through and follow what Alex did, and maybe do the opposite of what I did. But look at my board that I didn't do. Thanks, Alex. It was great.